Welcome to this 1-hour masterclass, how to build your legacy. And what I want to preface with this whole thing is as well, this is not necessarily a masterclass or a program that if you want to start your own business or you don't have to become the CEO. Not all of us want to be in charge of all of that responsibility. But when I'm talking about building your legacy, it's really the overall impact that you're having in the control and the freedom of your own life, which I think feels like a pretty important value. And even if you want to keep your normal job and you love where you're working and you love what you're doing, this is going to be a really good way for you to reimagine what is possible and to dive into building new revenue streams. And so some of the top billionaires in the world talk about how you should have at least seven revenue streams, right? You should be investing into the stock market, into crypto. You should be creating passive income streams and, invested into the real estate market. Whatever it is that excites you and that you're interested in, start to create avenues in which you can create more income in your life. And so before we get started, I just want you to close your eyes. Close your eyes, nobody's watching, nobody's there, it's just you. This is a moment, this is a masterclass that you are taking for yourself. This is you giving yourself the gift of your own time, of your knowledge, of being able to expand and explore new things that are going to bring you so much in your life. And as you close your eyes, I want you to picture 1 year from now. Step into your life 1 year from now, and I want you to do a 360, right? Turn in a whole circle around yourself and look around into your life. What do your relationships look like? What does your love life look like? How much money are you currently earning? How do you feel every morning when you wake up and are getting ready to go on about your day? What are maybe some of the new items that you've bought? Maybe if it's a car or that new TV that you want or the new phone. Just look around into your life 1 year from now and what are you seeing? If in this moment you decided to step forward and create anything that you wanted to create in this world, what would that look like for you? And allow yourself to live in that reality for a few moments. Take a deep breath. And just be there. Keep looking around. Is there anything else that you notice? All right, so remember we're talking about relationships, income, anything you might want to buy. How does it feel when you wake up every morning stepping into this life? And now I want you to grab a pen and paper and I want you to write these things down. Open your eyes and write all of this down. Write this future, what it is that you want 1 year from now. What are you calling in? And so take your time, write it down. You can always come back to it later. If anything else occurs to you in the rest of the day, write it down too. It's really important that we become very clear with what it is that we're looking to create. Because I hear a lot of people complaining to me about, my life isn't great and I don't have this and I don't have that what you have and, I want to be making more money. And my question to them is, have you asked for it? Have you clearly stated, this is what I want? And, think of a map, right? Let's say you're trying to get to your friend's party and you've never been there before. How are you going to get there? If you don't create a clear plan, if you don't put in that address into Google Maps and it guides you there, how the hell are you expecting to get to the party? You're just like, oh, sorry, I never came to the party. Well, did you even try to show up, right? Like, did you even make that first step? Did you leave your house? And I feel like a lot of us, we kind of get stuck in the phase of complaining about what we don't have, comparing ourselves to others, but never even making the effort and asking them like, hey, so how did you buy that house? How did you make your first $1 million? Like, how did you actually, manifest this relationship, this love relationship into your life? What was it that they actually did? And when you, start reading some books and looking at these lives of these famous personalities, what you're going to soon realize is that there was a lot that they had to do to get to that place. And the most interesting thing is often the worse that we have it in life, the worse cards that we get dealt. And when we really have to push, when we make that decision and say, I want to change my life, I want to have, total abundance and make $1 million, and I want to live, in Bali where I'm living right now. I live in Bali because I decided to live in Bali. I came here and I was like, okay, I'm going to go for 2 months. I'm going to see if this is where I want to live. And I was like, hell yes, I want to live here. And let me tell you something about living in Bali. I probably pay way less rent than you do. When I go for breakfast, we pay like $1.50 or $2 to have an amazing smoothie bowl like that is totally fresh with delicious fruit. It's actually not what you think it is. And so if you're looking at my Instagram and seeing us post, photos in these villas and doing all these awesome things, you're like, oh, well, that looks impossible and unobtainable. But if you were actually to go up to me and ask me, hey, how much is it actually costing you to live in Bali? How much is it costing you to rent your Vespa each day or whatever? I'll be able to share that information with you, and you'll see that it's so much more simple than you could ever imagine. And so that's what I'm going to do for you in this masterclass. How to build your legacy is really about you understanding how simple it can be for you to reach these goals and for you to bring these things into your life and for you to create more streams of revenue that are coming towards you and that are helpful for you to fulfill your dreams, you to fulfill your dreams of your children, of your spouse, people in your life, and actually being a support system rather than just complaining about all the things that you don't have, because everything is quite easily obtainable for you. Like right now, you're watching this video. How amazing is that? This technology that is possible that brought you here, and you knowing that I'm going to spend the next hour of my life listening to something that I feel is going to be important for my life. And that's the first step, is you being a yes. So thank you for being a yes to this. And I know that there's a lot of trust involved. Maybe you don't know me. You just saw maybe an ad online or me posting about this on Instagram, and you're like, okay, well, let's just try. Let's see if I'm going to get something that's valuable for my life. And I really hope that at the end of this, that will be a total hell yes. And so if you don't know who I am, let me just introduce myself, because I think it's going to be an important context. What qualifies me to teach this masterclass for you, right? Who am I to be telling you about these amazing ways that you can change your life? So my name is Virginia Salas Kastilio, and I am one of the world's top marketing and branding consultants. So I've worked with companies like NASDAQ, Refinery 29, Universal Studios. I launched the BBC's Snapchat in London. If you Google me, you'll find loads of different articles. I also write for Forbes. I'm verified on Instagram and on Facebook. I've been on, worldwide news before on the BBC talking about the Snapchat IPO. So there's a lot of different things that you can find about who I am. So I'm legit. I've worked very long to become the entrepreneur that I am today. I've lost a crap ton of money in doing that, because what you'll find is when you start building your own business and learning to be an entrepreneur is that you're basically paying your way through these lessons. Like last year alone, I lost $100,000 in total, and just like trusting the wrong people and putting my money into the wrong marketing agencies, trusting the wrong partners. And so as an entrepreneur, we usually pay quite a lot of money to learn the lessons that we know right now. And so why I'm so passionate about creating courses and sharing content online and making these videos is because that was incredibly painful for me, to learn these lessons the hard way and to lose all of this money and put my trust in the wrong people. And so through me just sharing my story and telling you what I've learned, hopefully I can save you a lot of time and money, and you're able to accelerate a lot faster than I did. And one of the things that I feel is like very, very important as we are growing as humans in life is having mentors, and is having other people that are not just trying to brag and not just saying, hey, look what I did and this is what I created, but they're just saying the real authentic story of how they closed their first deal, of how they built their brand and actually got to where they are now, so that we can learn from an authentic way and not from an ego-driven story that has nothing to do with the truth or is a way that you can replicate. So living here in Bali, I thankfully have a lot of amazing friends that have 7 and 8 figure businesses, and I get to, hang out with them and they tell me their stories. And a lot of the ways that people started their businesses is totally boring. It's not, hey, we just did this 8-figure launch and it's so awesome. Like, that's the story that happens after the whole year, but they were sitting in front of their computers and just like typing along and like learning algorithms and watching, educational videos like these and trying to learn from as many other entrepreneurs as they can as they're building, failing, and then, continuing. But the good news for you is that you don't need a lot of money to invest into creating your own business or into creating a new revenue stream. All you need really is your time and your curiosity and your willingness to learn. I believe we need a reframing of our relationship to education. I don't know how it was for you, but I went to 15 different schools in 3 different languages, and I got teased and bullied a lot because I kept on changing schools and I was seen as the outsider. But beyond just how school made me feel, just the classes and the courses and what I was learning didn't seem at all relevant to what I wanted to do in life. Because since I was a little girl, I always wanted to be an actress and a filmmaker, a writer and a storyteller. And when I was sitting in classes like chemistry and physics and all this other kind of stuff that just didn't interest me whatsoever, and I didn't know how it was going to be useful for me now in later life, and which, fast forward, 20 years later, it hasn't been relevant for me whatsoever. And so we're currently in a space where we're teaching things to our children that they don't need. And so we have this kind of like negatively filled relationship when it comes to education and knowledge. And I think it's time that we reframe that and that we actually step into a space where we can learn with joy and excitement. And in my own path as an entrepreneur, investing into my learning, into going to these $5,000 conferences where I had to pay back my credit card over 6 months, and getting these online courses that I would dedicate myself to and actually listen to and do for the next 3 months, this has up-leveled my business and just me as a human being more than I could ever say. And that's why I've built an online university. That's why I'm doing this masterclass, because I believe that it is so crucial for our own personal growth and how we contribute to society. So where do we start? So you're here, you want to build your legacy, you want to maybe build a new stream of income, you want to deep dive into creating a new reality for yourself, into creating this vision that we talked about before, when you're looking around in your life and you're just seeing things that excite you and that fill you up and grow you, and where you know that this is a life that you truly want to live. And it all really starts with acknowledging the power that you have within you. And maybe you're at this moment where you don't feel very qualified, or you don't have a lot of skills, and like, what can I contribute, and like, what do I know that actually can make money, and like, how much money is this worth? Those are all very valid questions that we've all experienced before and felt, especially when stepping into doing our own thing, or just creating our own space, even if it's a page or a blog or a YouTube or whatever. You might be wondering what makes you unique. And so you'll be really, really surprised at how the most trivial things that you were totally obsessed with, that you would completely do for free, that you could watch countless YouTube videos on, and classes and courses, and that would travel to another city or even another country to do more research on or to experience. These things that really light you up and make you burn, they are extremely valuable. And even if it's something like, let's say, an obsession with anime, or making silly, crazy videos, or if it's baking or cooking, or even just being like the best cleaner ever, cleaning things and organizing things to an art, right? I mean, think about the Netflix show Marie Kondo, that is literally in Japanese. She doesn't even speak English. She has a translator with her. She has subtitles, but because she's so passionate about cleaning up and making things tidy and making things less complicated for other people, this is a show that people love to watch, because the thing that people will pay you the most money for is the thing that you most enjoy doing, because you will do it with dedication, you will do it with honesty and truth, and when that person hires you, you will go all out for them. And isn't that the best way to make your money? And so I want you to think of like what that is. And if you're already currently working on that thing and that's absolutely your like joy in your creation, awesome. This is also going to help you to actually build that out more, get known by more people, get more press and things like that. And then if you want to create a second stream of income like that, of something else that you enjoy, because thankfully we all have a lot of interests and we have a lot of things that we like to do. So this will be helpful as well. Or if you're just totally getting started and you're like, okay, Virginia, like I'm working at this job that I'm not so excited about, but I would love to create a new stream of income, then this is also going to be super, super helpful. So the first thing that you have to just really integrate and understand is, who are you? Who are you as a human being? Like, how often do we ask ourselves this question other than when we have to introduce ourselves to someone else? But without having that sort of pressure of somebody listening or anyone being around, I want you to just take your pen and paper, because that's important. We want to be documenting all this stuff because you're going to forget, and it's just really important for you to have something also visual that you can be looking at. So get your pen and paper and just write down 5 things that you would do for free. Like, what are 5 things that you would just love to create? And even if it's teaching a cooking class, even if it's making a video or sewing clothes or whatever that is, or dressing someone, right? That's also an amazing skill. Just showing people like how to dress really, really well. It's so valuable as well, especially for people like me that are going to, premieres and that have to be on camera. Like, it took me a really long time to like understand like what looks good on me and how I should dress, and that's an art and a skill as well. And you can charge someone thousands of dollars to refresh their wardrobe, to help them how to dress better. So there's so much. So don't think about where the money is going to come from. Just write down 5 things I would do for free. And so write them down now. Perfect. So you have your 5 things, and that's going to be the foundation. So, and regardless if it turns out into something else or not, but now you already have something that you can be working with, something that you have clarified and are starting to explore into this way of what do I enjoy. And if this list becomes longer, and the next day and the next week, just keep on adding things. Like, what do you enjoy doing? What would you do for free? Like, where are you having fun? And how would you like to plan your day? When people ask me, Virginia, what should I do for money? What company should I create? Or what's gonna bring me revenue? My question for them is like, how do you wanna spend your time? Do you wanna spend your time in your room like editing videos? Do you wanna spend your time speaking to the camera and sharing your knowledge and information? Do you wanna spend your time replying to comments, or having sales conversations, or going out for coffees, or doing the gardening for people, or decorating someone's house? Like, it doesn't matter like what it is, but that's how you should orientate yourself, because in the end, you're gonna, especially if you're building a business or new revenue stream, you're gonna spend a lot of time doing that stuff, because a lot of these tasks are kind of like rinse and repeat. You have to knock on a lot of doors, you have to have a lot of conversations, and you have to be willing to put yourself out there and actually share this information with people. And you have to be able to like just talk about it nonstop. Like for me, you sit me here with a camera talking about marketing, I could go on for days, right? This is like, we're gonna have to like cap it at 1 hour, because I've done 50 talks all over the world. I've done various courses on this, and it's just something that I could just go on about forever, because I love it and I practice it, and I've been doing this for the past 13 years. So if you look up my old YouTube channel, it's called Hello There Bourgeoise. I don't usually reveal this or talk about it, but that's what it is. And so I've been on YouTube for 13 years. So you can see me as like an awkward 16, 17-year-old doing this content online. I have a lot of time of experience in this, because this is the thing that I would be doing if you wouldn't be paying me for it. You're actually not paying me for it, because this is a free masterclass. So you see what I'm saying? It's like proving the whole point in itself. And so like, what would you do a masterclass on? And so write those things down. And this masterclass is also a condensed version of my course, How to Live Your Best Life and Be a Boss at Business. And so if you're feeling like this is really something that you want to pursue and you are committed with it, do take the course, because this will be a 7-week program where you can go step by step. We'll have homework, and each week you'll see yourself improving and going to the next level. And this is really for either aspiring entrepreneurs or people that are ready to take more freedom in their lives and bring in new revenue streams, or if you're already super successful at 7-8 figures and want to build your personal brand to the next level. So it's really for anyone in that space. So now that you've defined, what is your passion? What do you want to work on? Like, how do you want to spend your time? Then the next part that you really have to do is like state that, stand up for that, be like, this is what it is that I'm creating in the world. And let everybody know. Be unapologetic about it. Because one of the things when we have a passion or we have a dream or we have a way that we make money, it seems like we start feeling guilty about it. It's like, we feel like, well, I would do this for free anyways. Why should someone pay me for this? How can someone be giving me money when this is actually something that I enjoy? And so when people start asking you, how much do you charge for your editing services? How much do you charge for your photography classes? Then you might have some constriction around asking for money for this. And this is valid for the people that are already in business and maybe making 7 figures. Maybe you're not asking enough. A really good indicator of that you should raise your prices is when people just agree to it immediately and they're like, oh yeah, perfect. And it's like, maybe this should be at a higher price point. And the reason why it is important that you do go to a higher price point, especially if you have so much value to offer to people, is because right now you have giant companies and people that are making a lot of money and that are paying consultants and freelancers and other companies that might not be able to work at the quality and the standards that you are working at. And they might not be considering you because your price point is just lower than what they would usually pay for it. And so you're not being able to be competitive in the market. And so when you're feeling some constriction around asking for the money that you deserve with all the work and the expertise that you've had your entire life by being obsessed with this subject and being able to grow and expand to the lengths that you have, you're just totally underselling yourself. And that's the problem, because people aren't going to take you seriously. And so I really want to, when you're creating your offering, I want to stress to really ask for what it is that you want, because right now you might be excited and you're like, okay, great, I'm going to ask for money on this and I'm going to, create this offering, and you're just excited to get a sale. Like, please buy, because I can't wait to do this work for you. But then all of a sudden you've got the contract and you're doing the work and you see how much it takes. And every single client is not only the number of the hours that you are, putting in to create this project or do this thing, even if it's just an online course. There is a relationship. Through you watching this masterclass, you are now a part of my global family, of my global tribe. Maybe you also follow me on Instagram. Maybe you follow me on Facebook. And through us having that connection, you might have some questions. You might come back and ask me about this masterclass. You might ask me about I Trust University. And so every time I'm replying, even if it's just to a comment or a like or a DM or whatever, that's my time. And so when you are asking for, a price point and making an offer to a potential customer, you really want to make sure that every time they send you a DM, every time they hit you up for advice or whatever it is, you feel awesome to reply, because you're like, hell yeah. You're in my coaching class for $5,000, or you bought this program. Of course I will be here, and of course I will serve you, because you know that the relationship between you and them is in total integrity. And if you're underselling yourself, and if you were like, okay, well, I'll just sell this masterclass for $10, or I'll just do this for $30. And then every time you're like, well, but I sold it to you for that price. Like, shouldn't you be like grateful, and shouldn't it be enough with what you already have for that? Like, why are you coming back to me? Because there goes so much beyond than just the relationship. That person has more questions. And so I really want you to make sure that you are asking what it is that you actually be enjoying charging while you're in this relationship, because it goes so much more than the content that you're creating. That makes sense, right? After you found your passion, after you are ready to step out and create the offering, you need to start spreading it to people. And so we don't have so much time right now to go into all of the ins and outs in social media. When I cover this in my course, it's really like a 1 hour long piece. But I'm gonna give you a few nuggets that you can already take with right now and just start testing and implementing it. And so you can already imagine that if you were to supercharge this and really lay out the full strategy of what I can offer you, how much more value it's gonna bring you. But the idea for this masterclass is that you're already able to go out and start working on the first things. And if you do wanna take the course after, you know that you're gonna be in that advanced level and to really take you into your next growth success. So when you're talking about social media, I really want to come back to the basics right now, because a lot of us forget what social media is about and the whole purpose of social media. The purpose of social media is to connect. It's a network system that connects the entire world to each other through stories and images, and being able to, yes, you and your food selfies, that's just as valid as everything else. Hey guys, I'm having these dope ass unicorn rainbow pancakes, check them out. Awesome, you've let us into your world for a second. And what brands and agencies and companies have started doing on social media is just trying to bombard you with, hey, look at me, hey, look at this product, hey, buy this thing, and it just starts getting too much. And so when you start talking about your brand or your service or whatever this new income stream is that you're trying to create, I want you to really connect with those people. And when you're posting and when you're putting out content, say why it's really relevant. Why are you posting these unicorn pancakes right now? Maybe you're on a special diet and you don't eat sugar, and you found these special unicorn pancakes that are dairy-free and sugar-free. I'm giving an example from my own life because I'm dairy-free and sugar-free, and so I can't have so many unicorn pancakes. And so if I would find some, it would be very exciting for me, right? And so that's suddenly a whole different story and a whole different context, because usually you couldn't eat ice cream or you couldn't eat pancakes. And suddenly you're having an experience in a restaurant where you are allowed to eat the thing that you usually wouldn't find. And so it's a big deal. And so in that whole post, you can talk about nutrition and self-care and all these other different things. And so that's when the connection really happens. Because if it's just a selfie of you and the unicorn pancakes and all it says hashtag living my best life, or hashtag look at me, or go Bali or whatever, it's okay, great. I'm seeing, a great photo. Maybe it's an awesome photo with some great preset filter on it, but it's not giving me any context or connection. And so when you start sharing about your brand or what it is that you're creating, share the whole full story, and share it from a super authentic place so that people can start understanding who you are and what you're about. And the more vulnerable and transparent that you are with the content that you're creating and with the story that you're sharing, the more people are going to listen. Because we want to have the whole story. We don't want you hiding behind your ego and just behind your screen of, this is the image of me that I want you to see, because no one's going to buy into that. We have enough of that noise. We want to hear the full authentic story of who you are and why it is that you do all this stuff in the world. Why is this relevant to you? And so that's the next thing. So when you're posting on social media, have that content be authentic. And that's something I want you to test out today. After watching this masterclass, go on there. Go on your Facebook, your Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is that you usually, post on. And I'd love to see it as well. So send it to me. My Instagram is my full name, @Virginia Salas Castillo. When you're writing these posts, send me a DM. I want to see them, Tag me in your Instagram story. I want to watch it. I want to repost it if it's awesome. And so I want to keep this dialogue also open, because I would like, not you to only take this masterclass and, watch this 1 hour, but I actually want you to implement these things and like take action. And I want to see what it is that you're creating. And like that, hey, you'll have one more like and comment from me. So go post on social media and be authentic, and do that today. Like really hold yourself accountable, because like what's the point of you, listening to everything that I'm saying and writing down the life that you want to live in 1 year from now or 10 years from now, and writing down what you're passionate about and posting on social media? Like, what's the whole point of me telling you if you're not going to do it? So I really want to hold you accountable to stepping forward into that, because the next thing that we do after we're dreaming is we need to start executing. So please start executing, and you'll see that the people around you, your friends and family, they'll actually really appreciate it, and they'll really support it, and they're going to be excited that you are sharing from an authentic space. So oftentimes we post on social media and it's like, great, like no one's really seeing it, no one's really engaging. Like, okay, Virginia, I posted this thing that you told me and I got super vulnerable and transparent and I talked about what my dream is, but no one's liking or commenting on it. Like, it's not really working, is it, right? And that happens. And I'll tell you the reason why that happens is because the algorithms hate us. It's like the short and simple of it. Like if you go on my Instagram, my like engagement has dropped from like when I started like 1/10 of what it used to be, right? And why is that? Why does Instagram and Facebook do that? Well, because they want us to pay for ads. They want us to like pay to actually even target our own audience. And so this can happen. And so what can you, who doesn't have a budget for social media, doesn't have a budget for this new revenue stream or company that you're starting, how can you start getting more people to see your content? And so I'll give you 2 things that you can do. Number 1, actually forward that content as a personal message to people that you find would resonate with it. And please don't be spammy about it. Please don't be like, hey, new post, or whatever like that. Just send them a message and say, hey, this is a really important post to me that I wrote. And it took me a lot to share this and to be vulnerable about what my dreams and passions are, or this is something that I've just never shared before, and it would mean a lot to me if you would have a look at it or give it a comment or a like, and if you feel compelled, like share it on your story. And so now you're being authentic and you're being real. You're not coming like from the back, like trying to get attention and get things, but you're just actually like, hey, this would mean a lot to me. And you're asking them straight on. And that's always the most important thing. Like, ask people straight on what it is that you want, and don't try to trick them or don't try to deceive them, because we have a really high bullshit meter, and so we know when you're being inauthentic. So that's number 1. Send it to them as a DM, let them know why you're sharing it, why it's important to you. The second thing is go and start engaging more on other people's content. What I told you about before is that social media is about connection. Social media is about having conversations. So you can't just be putting out content into the world and expecting everyone to like and comment on your stuff. Just go and comment and like on their things, and people that you feel like might be relevant, that really resonate with whatever it is that you're sharing. You know your friends, your network. If you have other people that also love making videos and are obsessed with, let's say, YouTube or whatever it is, then send it to them, because it's going to be relevant to them and they're going to actually give you an opinion that's probably going to matter to you. And so that's the next thing. Go on other people's profiles and go and comment on them. And there's so much more in the social media realm of how you can truly grow your following in an organic way. And I grew my following completely for free. So I didn't invest into ads. I'm actually terrible at that. Like, I have a team that does that for me now for I Trust University. They take care of the ads and all that kind of stuff. I'm not a technical person. I don't like going in there and looking at the numbers and who are we going to target and how much is it going to cost. That sort of like drives me crazy. And so what I'm good at is really about organic free marketing, and how can you, with the resources that you have right now, really truly go viral and bring things to the next level. Something a lot of people don't know is how I actually initially started growing my following. And Yeah, I mean, I had maybe 500 friends on Facebook, 200 followers on Instagram. I didn't have anything to kind of seed my following with to make it more explosive. And as I explained, no budget or anything for ads. And so I started just really spending more time online and seeing of avenues that I can grow my following. And I heard this YouTube video by Gary Vaynerchuk, who was talking about how Snapchat is going to be the next big platform. So this is when the main platforms were YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And Snapchat was more seen of something that kids were using, and brands weren't really investing so much into it, only like the big ones like Disney and Universal and stuff like that. So I started learning how to grow my Snapchat following, and one of the ways that I did this was through Reddit. So I went on Reddit on the Snapchat forum, and you can add your username, right? As anyone that's fun on Reddit, and I would definitely recommend to explore that site because they get so much traffic, and they're seen as the front page of the internet, and so it's a really great place to go viral if you're smart and if you're not salesy and if it doesn't look at all like you're trying to market, because they don't like that. But in this specific Snapchat thread, you can post your Snapchat handle. And so I got really creative at writing these cool captions and ideas of how people can add me on Snapchat. And so that's how I started growing my following. And in the first 3 weeks, I grew 4,000 followers on Snapchat. And like, that's a lot. So for any brand who's tried to grow their following on Snapchat, it's really difficult to get people to follow you. And I would post there maybe every day, every 2 days, and I would post really interesting things, kind of like, I live on the in the south of Spain on an avocado farm with my pygmy goats, Sam and Frodo. Add me to watch our adventures. And so I started growing my following, and what I was doing then, so once you do get followers, you need to start engaging with them. And so I was having a lot of one-on-one conversations and trying to figure out who was following me and really getting them to be invested in who I was and what my mission was and what my passion was, and getting them passionate and excited about supporting me and being a part of my global tribe. And so that was initially how it sort of started, and I would do all these crazy Snapchat stories. So I was still working for Oracle, which is an IT company. I was doing account management for them, and I was sitting at the office, and all I could think about is what was I going to do in my next Snapchat story? What was I going to create? And I did everything from like researching jokes and just like telling one-liners to me driving around Spain and showing people where I lived, and from playing with my dog. And it's really about showing people as much into your life as possible, because I mean, who do we want to connect with? Who do we want to relate to? Someone that we feel like we truly know. And so there's so much that you can do in that realm of allowing people behind the scenes. And so, I mean, ever since then, my social media career has grown. So I started growing my following, and then I started reaching out to other influencers on LinkedIn and just hitting them up and just being like, hey, like, do you want to collab? Let's create something. And I ended up collaborating with a really big Snapchatter, and we did this crazy Harry Potter story, and that then I got more followers through that. But then more than that, even, because it's not even like how many followers you get, but like which followers do you get, and like who starts getting to know you. And it was other Snapchatters that were following me then too, and getting to know who I was because of the association with their friend. And so I started getting invited to like Snapchat collaborations, and being able to actually go to a meetup in New York with all these other Snapchatters, and then getting invited to speak at South by Southwest and things like that. Like, just the more people that you can start building in your network, the better. And I would say that that's the next part after social media, is really growing and cultivating that network. And in the course, I talk about really amazing, simple ways that you can grow your network exponentially. And I think this is just such an important part of the whole formula, because one of the great ways that you can make money as well is, like, you don't even have to be the expert. You don't even have to be sharing what it is that you create or your passion or whatever. Maybe you more enjoy having the sales conversations or bringing people into other people's genius. I mean, one of the things that Tony Robbins did when he started building his brand, he wasn't the coach or the mentor or anything. He was just the one supporting his favorite mentor. He loved the content that he created, and so he became an affiliate for his mentor's courses and his programs, and he just sold that. So you don't even have to create your own online course or whatever. You can also become an affiliate for I Trust University, for example. If you like the content that we make, go and have a look on our website and just check out some of the other courses and some of the other professors that we have. And if you feel like it resonates with you, then become an affiliate for I Trust You. That's also possible. So you don't have to create your own thing. And similarly, like in your network, you'd have other people who are all offering services. And so becoming an affiliate is a really good way to, just also create that new revenue stream. And the way that you then do that, and so you're like, okay, well, I'll become an affiliate, but how do I generate these sales? And you'll do that through networking, through finding the right people that are maybe already taking courses from other institutions that are delivering similar content as we are, but they're looking maybe for something more specific, or they relate more to a certain teacher. And so then you can introduce them to I Trust University. And it's not from a space of, hey, I want you to buy this thing, I need to make this sale or whatever, but it's like, I know that this is the type of content that you enjoy, I know that this is the type of thing that you're looking to learn, here's a course that I can recommend. And so you see how that's a whole different conversation, and that's why it's so important that you do grow your network and you do step into that space, because suddenly you're going to be able to help and support and service more people. And so the networking aspect is really, really important in there. And what you also want to do is you want to network with people that might be important towards some of your future goals that you're trying to create. If it's either being featured in Forbes, or become a writer for Forbes or whatever it is, you want to seek out people that write for Forbes or are already in that space and have them as part of your network, so that when an opening comes up or they're looking to feature someone, then there you are. And that's why going to these conferences, I just wrote a whole post in our newsletter about how I turned a $5,000 conference ticket into $200,000. And where that comes from is a conference that I went to after I left corporate. So as I said, I was working at Oracle, and I left there, and in one of my business masterminds, one of the guys, Andre, was like, oh my God, like you need to go to this conference in Costa Rica. It's amazing. It's gonna blow your mind. Like there's all these like-minded entrepreneurs and people that are living alternative lifestyles and that are digital nomads. And I was like, dude, this sounds awesome. And I just quit my job. I didn't have the money to, invest into a $5,000 conference, to fly down all the way to Costa Rica, pay for this expensive 5-star hotel. Like I didn't have any, income coming in. I was gonna have to live off my savings and my stocks and just the last of what I had sort of built up, my little nest egg. But because I felt that it was going to be important for me to be at that conference, you know how sometimes you just get a feeling, you're like, I don't know, I kind of feel in my stomach, I should be there, I should do that thing, just follow that, because it's usually right, and you usually have the right sense of what you do want in your life and what you don't want in your life. And so for this conference, I was 100% spot on, totally right, to max out my credit card, to go to this conference. I paid it off, it took me 6 or 7 months to pay this off, but it was so worth it, because there I actually ended up landing my first consulting client. I didn't know how I was going to make money or whatever, but because I was so interested in social media and I was such a whiz about it, and I'd been able to grow my following organically, people were asking me to manage their Facebook, manage their Instagrams, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't realize how little knowledge there was in the whole space around social media, and that there's so many marketers that are just taking money off people, but they don't actually know what they're doing. And so that was really eye-opening for me. And then I went on to land a position as a CMO of a startup, which taught me so much. And then because when I left my job, I was nomadic, so I was traveling around. I was going from, after Costa Rica, I went to New York, I was there for a month or two, then I went to Florida, then I went to Silicon Valley, and all the time I was staying at people's houses that I'd met at this conference. So it was giving me so much value. And then later, with all the knowledge and everything that I had accumulated in the connections, I then created my social media agency, Ginny TV, where in one deal we closed $150,000 for just one client. And so the $200,000 that I previously quoted are actually a low estimate of what I actually believe that I got from going to this conference and going to the same conference many times again, and just expanding myself in the realm of self-education, which is so important, because if you invest in yourself, that's actually your highest return on investment that you can possibly have. If you've enjoyed this masterclass and you really feel like you want to dive deeper into growing your own personal brand, into growing more streams of revenue, into getting better at social media, networking, living the fullest life that you could possibly live, I would love to invite you to my course, How to Live Your Best Life and Be a Boss at Business. It is my entire blueprint of how I've created my brand over the past 13 years, and I believe that it's the best thing I've ever created. I'm really proud of this course. I think it's amazing, and I think that you'll love it. It's the first course that we're launching on I Trust University, which is our education platform where we're really trying to educate the students of the future and give the students their future. Because what I'm finding is, especially in universities and educational institutions, is like, do you know that the average American student pays $30,000 a year just in tuition fees? And if you multiply that by the 14.5 million students that inscribed into university in 2017, that makes an entire market of $435 billion that are being spent just on tuition fees. And if you look at the American economy and you realize that 50% of the American population are only getting 1.3% of the pie of the entire wealth of the economy, there's obviously something that isn't matching. And so that's why I'm really passionate about building I Trust University and giving students their futures, because I truly think it's important that not only do we educate, but that we look into the future of being, well, what are you going to do with this? How are you going to monetize this? How are you going to make a living off this? And even more, how are you going to make a living and live the life of your dreams? So that's what I Trust University is about. And other than the course that I created, How to Live Your Best Life, we have other amazing professors that are teaching everything from a whole deep dive course into how to use your voice on social media to grow your impact and bank account, to how to create success without stress, to how to breathe better and live longer. We have amazing courses. So I would love you to just check out itrustuniversity.com. Take my course if you found this really compelling and interesting and feel like you want to go further with this and truly, start monetizing your passions and making a profit from things that you truly enjoy. Lots of love here from Bali, and if I'm not going to see you in the course, and if you're never going to come on I Trust University, definitely follow me on Instagram. Send me a message and tell me that you watched this masterclass. And even better, send me the post that you did when you started declaring to the world what is your passion, what is your value, and sharing stories from a more authentic and transparent point of view. I'm Virginia Salas Kastilio, founder of I Trust University, and thank you for joining me in this masterclass.